Hi, this is Katie, and thank you for joining me on the My Senses, My Space podcast. And this is a podcast about feeling the world intensely, creating time to support your needs, and planning your space and life to fit you. And I wanted to thank you first for a little pause in all of the podcasts that have been coming out. I have been healing up from hysterectomy surgery, and I am so happy right now. But it just took a lot longer than I thought. So thank you for, sticking with me. For those who stuck around. And I was quite surprised to see people were still enjoying my podcast, even though I uploaded nothing for the month of July. And that's just how it is in this year of 2023. So today I wanted to talk about dealing with changes and how to cope with change in your life. So there can be so many different kinds of changes that happen, right? There's changes to your environment, where you're living, how everything's laid out, furniture and things like that. But your relationships can change, your routines can change, your jobs can change. There's just so many factors. I know there's probably 10 million more to mention, but I want to try to stick to like the core big changes in life and how our minds can adapt and how they take a while to adapt. Sometimes there are like really exciting changes that you have, and so you're looking forward to them, and so you can start thinking about the future and what may come, and it can be a lot easier to accept that those are coming. So a new job that you're starting, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is the job that I've been wanting to do. You could be like going out and getting some new clothes for it, or getting supplies for it, or just thinking like, okay, I'm getting myself ready to go to that first day. Figuring out how to park, how to drive there, all the new things, expecting to meet new people there. If it's via, Zoom calls, then you're still, dialing in and meeting new people. And you can be really excited about that. And your brain can, still be nervous, still have, a lot of thoughts running around. But when you're picturing this future, when you're picturing like what the first day and all the following days may be like, that's your brain like adapting already. It's like taking these steps of going, okay, when I actually go through them, it's going to be very similar to the thoughts that I have in my head. And I'm going to have surprises along the way, right? We can never tell exactly how things are going to be. It's going to be surprises at some point, right? Even when I try to think through something, there's always a surprise that pops up that I just never thought of. And maybe that's the fun of life thing, the spice of life, right? But when we're thinking about like, okay, so I'm going to drive into this parking garage, or I'm going to have my room set up this way, so when I hit go on that Zoom call, it's going to probably look like this. Of course, that comes with like some practice things that you're putting into place, right? Like you're probably setting up your room before you hit that Zoom call. You're preparing for things. But what about those things that kind of are hard to adapt to? Like maybe you have to move and this wasn't quite your choice. And it's just, there's a lot of heavy feelings around it. And it can't be really avoided, right? We can't really avoid our feelings. So there needs to be something in this process of really feeling those feelings. Like, this is way out of my control. This is way out of my circle of what I can control. It's outside of that, right? It is really disappointing. It is very frustrating. There could be anger involved, a lot of sadness. There can be like reasons that kind of compounded into this, like, well, I am being forced to change. And that's hard. That's hard. I'm not going to say any of this is easy. It's just hard. And so in that circumstance, it's very hard to think ahead and go, okay, well, this is going to be how my new life is. It's very hard to envision until you start going, oh, okay, well, I've selected a new place to live, or this is where I'm going to live. This is my default. I have no other choice. This is where I'm going to be. What does that look like? What does that every day look like? Maybe it's moving in with family. Maybe it's, I'm just doing a specific circumstance, but just thinking like, well, okay, it's not how I used to be. This is not the place where I used to be waking up, but this is a different place. And what does that look like? So I can kind of start preparing my brain for how that will feel. Hopefully, you have some similar bedding type things, similar clothes. You're bringing some stuff with you. So there is some familiarity between your previous place and the next one. But it can still be a lot of like, well, how is this going to work? Are there new noises in my environment that I'm not used to? Is there a new roommate or family member or pets or things that I didn't normally live with before? What is that going to be like? It's hard. So first of all, just kind of envisioning it, sometimes journaling about it, sometimes creating art around it. The art itself, maybe even just sketching out where you're going to place things in the new space can kind of give you some hope of like, okay, well, this wasn't my decision, but, and this can apply to other things too, like changing a job, but it wasn't your decision to shift even positions. Maybe your department is recalibrating, reassigning the tasks, and it's like, okay, well, I have to do this now. If you are like sketching out what that looks like, if you're writing down a task list that's new, whatever that is, you're kind of starting to invite those ideas in to what your body and your mind will have to acclimate to. But if it's still struggling through all of that, please, please, please ask for help. So there are so many people on this earth who have gone through what you have gone through, and putting out some kind of message somewhere, whether it's to online friends or asking family or asking your friends or someone to connect to and say, hey, I haven't been through this before. Do you have any advice? Can you kind of like help support me a bit? Do you need to talk to a therapist? Is there a therapist service that you have access to that you can connect to and just say, I'm going through this temporary time? And temporary can be a year, right? Doesn't have to be just 2 weeks. I'm going through this transition. How can I support myself? How can you support me as well to get through this time? And many people during, whether it's friends or therapists or something, can come up with a way that either is going to be gradual and at a pace that your mind and body can slowly adapt to. Even if you have to move quickly, there are certain things that you can do slowly, more slowly. You don't have to set up your room right away. You don't have to, like right when you start a new position, be good at absolutely everything, right? There is going to be a learning period throughout whatever transition you're going through. So how can you step through that? Maybe today you're putting all your dishes away. Maybe the next day you're just organizing some books. Maybe the next day you're actually getting like kind of stations set up around your house so you can actually perform certain things. And maybe the next day you just take off and you just reflect on things. And that kind of brings me to kind of the last part of this, which is so interesting, so important to me is really kind of checking in after a certain interval of time, a certain period of time, to go, how is this going? Do I need to course correct a little bit? Am I expecting too much of myself? So taking that time to reflect and say, and this may be when you discover, okay, I need more help than I need more help than I'm currently getting. Maybe I need to reach out to my friends more. Maybe I need more supplies. Maybe I need to have a mentor who can help me form the leadership that I want to in this new job. Maybe I need to step this out longer. Maybe I need to just have a cutoff point and transition quicker. And in those instances, maybe it's like you're holding on too hard to the past. There's a reason why. There's feelings there to be felt. There's things to maybe journal about, to talk to a therapist about, and see how letting go of things that you just are out of your control. Like there's just no way you can do anything about it. How do you let that go? Or just be okay with the decision that you made to go to the next step. You could be super thrilled about the new place or the new job or the new relationship that you're having and still be anchored too much and wondering how you can let go. So is there a process that you can go, okay, well, I can process this part of the feelings that I'm having and then the next part. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes we can kind of go, oh, there's a really hard tug I'm feeling right now to the past. Let's see what that is. And then the next part can be, well, I kind of see why that's so important that it's tugging me. Well, it's, the core things connecting to my grandparents or my parents or siblings or friends that I've had. And then realizing, oh, okay, now that I've seen those things and I see why I'm having those deep connections, how can I tie those into the future? How can I go, okay, I love you. You're in the past. You're not disappearing. That part of me is still there and I'm carrying it into the future. So yeah, there's so many possibilities, yet transitions are hard. Changes are hard. And we can still be super excited, or we still can have a lot of emotions around it, but we can get through it. So I hope that helps. And thank you again for joining me and being patient with me. And you may be listening to these podcasts back to back and go, what do you mean? What gap? And to you, I say thank you for going through my archive. But I really much look forward to getting back to these now that I'm feeling a lot better. And I will see you next time on the My Senses, My Space podcast.